Hello, Acting 2 folk. Today I'm going to attempt to do online what we usually do in class, and that is to go through the verb scoring. The reason why is it saves us an entire class period if we're able to do it online, so we're going to attempt. Please keep in mind that this video you can watch as many times as you want. I am available for questions, as are your CAs, as are upperclassmen, so please, the rule of thumb is don't wait. If you wait, you're going to get confused and get lost. All right? So the first thing you want to do with your verb scoring is you want to take the text that you're given, in this case the Emily monologue, and you want to put it, if this is a piece of paper, you want to put it on the right-hand side. Okay? You also want to left align it so that all of the words are to the left, so that you don't have words starting here, that everything is to the left, but everything is right aligned. Okay? I hope that that makes sense. You can think of it almost as columns, that you want everything in the right column, and on the left you want blank. So you want this blank, you want the top of the page blank, and you want all of your text over to the right. You also want a lot of space. You want to think triple or quadruple space between the lines, and that is the first thing that you do. Okay? Verbs, 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 verbs. So once you get all of your text done, let's see here. I have just emailed you all the instructions for this, so I'm going to attempt to follow this as per the instructions. The first thing it says is that you will need a key in the upper right-hand corner. You can denote that in a box. Okay? You can either write that in by hand, or if you're slick with a computer, you can do that in a box up there. And the key, we'll get to that a little bit later. Up to the upper left-hand corner, the first thing you're going to want is your super objective. And I just write S-O. Your super objective is a single word that encapsulates everything that the character wants. It defines the human being. Do they want power? Do they want attention? Do they want validation? Do they want respect? Do they want peace? Do they want family? Please refrain from love, because love tends to get really general, okay? And that's a very challenging thing to find. It needs to be one word. Things with shun at the end tend to be really good. But as I just said, power can be one of those. If you want to discuss that, if you want examples, please, again, I'm free outside of class, well, kind of, and so are your CAs. For this chance, let's say validation. It is V-A-L-I-D-A-T-I-O-N. It is insatiable, meaning that even if you get validated, you still want more validation. It's what wakes you up in the morning. It's what you're afraid of not getting. It really defines the individual. Okay. Once you have all of the text written, it's going to be broken up into two things. It's going to be broken up to units and to beats. Now right now I'm moving on to the section of, it says scenic units, okay? To mark a unit, it is with a straight line. It is with a straight, solid line. A beat is marked with a dotted line. A dotted line. Dot, 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 dot. The scenic breaks are bigger chunks. What defines a scenic break? It needs to be something happens in the scene that is as significant as another character coming into the scene. Sometimes another character will come into the scene. Or a discovery is so big, a piece of information is so big, it's the equivalent of doing a 180-degree turn. Okay? A beat is, think of it like a 45-degree turn or a 90-degree turn. You can debate those a little bit. In a typical scene, you might have 2 or 3 units. In a monologue, you might have, it may be one long unit, or there might be a unit break in the middle. okay? But there usually aren't a lot of units. There are usually plenty of beats through there. This is where we start getting to color coding everything. And that's what the key is very useful for, okay? Again, on this sheet, it will tell you specifically what colors need to be put on what. And I'm limited in terms of the colors I can choose today, okay? So your super objective, all of the information that goes up here needs to be color coded up here. You could say super objective, and then you would write black, or green, or purple, not yellow. Why? Because it's hard to see. But you would put that up there. And so that would be one thing. Also, you would put unit breaks. Unit breaks. Or you could just say unit. That's going to be a lot shorter. And then you would put the color that unit would be. Again, I only have 3 colors, so mine has to be black. But for the sake of the exercise, let's say it's purple. Alright? The scene is beginning, so of course I'm going to have a unit at the top. Now what does every unit need? An objective. Okay? So I'm going to write objective, and I'm also going to write obstacle up here. So you have a unit objective, and a unit obstacle. We'll get to what those actually are in a bit. Alright? Because that's what you're going to have to accomplish. Now underneath the unit is the beat. Okay? In this case, I'm going to use purple because it shows up better on the camera. And so I have unit over here, and now I'm going to have beat. And instead of, well, purple, I'm going to write mauve. Okay? Same thing. Okay? And I'm going to need a beat objective, and a beat obstacle as well. Okay? Going to move from there back to this. Here's the text. Oh mama, just look at me 1 minute as though you really saw me. Please notice that it changes colors. Here's one color, then it changes colors, and then it changes back. You are going to pick 2 colors for your text. Okay? Every time you change tactic, you change color. And up in the key, you're going to mark tactics, let's say, blue and green. Please keep in mind, I don't have blue or green. I have 3 colors, okay? But you can see here, I'm alternating the colors. Now, on this one, let's say I want the tactic to tickle. And so above the word, I will write tickle. And so through that, I need to tickle mama. Oh, mama. Oh, students. Okay? After that, I change tactics. And let's say I'm going to drill through that part. So it's, oh, mama, just look at me 1 minute as though you, and now I choose a new tactic. To soothe. Soothing. Okay? And then, again, the physicalization of that. And it continues. I'm just switching tactics again and again and again and again and again. Once you use a tactic, can you repeat it? You can, but know that if you do that, your acting tends to become very bland in one note. Okay? So for the sake of the exercise, I'd say once you play a tactic, it's off the table. Try to stick with verbs. Try to stay away from emotive things. The more physical it is, like we've been doing in class, the better chance you're going to have of doing the following exercises well. Okay? So we have tactics that alternate as you continue to go through. We have the beat objective and the unit objective. Now I want to talk about that a little bit. Think of it like a funnel. Right? Rachel, would you be kind enough to come up here? And Rachel's recording. Everybody say hi, Rachel. Okay.
Hey guys.
let's say Rachel is standing over here, and she's holding this dry erase marker, and she's got her arms crossed, okay? Because she's mad at me. And I want Rachel to shake my hand. Shaking my hand is my unit objective. I want Rachel to shake, shake my hand. Okay? The thing that's in the way is she is pissed. Okay? That's what I want. Okay? If she shakes my hand, that gives me validation. Okay? And that's the funnel we're talking about. Now, the beat units are bit by bit how I get her to ultimately shake my hand. Okay? So everything, look at all the stuff that's in my way. Some of it's me, some of it's her, some of it's the distance. So my first objective could be for Rachel to uncross her arms. Okay? The obstacle, I can't repeat that obstacle. The obstacle can be that, it can be internal. I'm shy. My voice is shot. It could be her. She's not listening to me. She's deaf. She's an alien. No, don't write that. It could be the environment. It's 8 a.m. It's the lighting's bad. There's a huge distance between us. It could be anything like that. In this case, we're going to say it's, we're going to say she's comfortable. That's not the best one. But she looks very cozy right now in her thing. And so this is kind of a cozy thing. So the tactics I choose need to help me overcome the obstacle in order for me to ultimately reach that objective of her uncrossing those arms. Above the dotted line, I'm going to write a W. Yay! That W is in the same color as the line I choose. Please remember, up here I decided that beats are going to be in mauve and the units are going to be in purple. So my beat wins and losses, W denoting win, is going to be in this mauve color, okay? Because I won. Yay! But now, regardless of whether or not I win or lose, I can move on to my next one, okay? Objective and obstacle. Please notice, everything I'm writing is not necessarily in context with this text. Okay? This is just learning everything. If I ultimately want her to shake her hand and she's sitting here like this, if I get her to do this, the next thing I would need her to do, because she has a pen in her hand, she can't shake, I want her to set her pen down. So that would be my second one, to set down the pen. Okay? The beat objectives can be, I want her to take in a full breath and release it. It can be, I want her to make eye contact with me. It can be, I want her to take 3 steps towards me. It can be, I want her to look at me as if a light bulb went off in her head. It can be many different things, but it has to be physical. I want her to understand is off the board. I want her to feel is off the board. I want her to, something like that is off the board, because the question comes, how do you know they feel that way unless they do something physical? Okay? I want her to feel bad. Stick with that. But then what does that look like? I want her to look at the floor in shame. You see the difference between the two? Okay? So that's how I know I got what I want, by what she does physically. It must be physical. So again, to feel, I want her to say something, it's off the table. It's off the table. Why? Because I want her to... People can say something but not mean it, if that makes sense. People do it all the time. I'm sorry. Am I sorry? No, but I said I'm sorry. So saying things is off the table. Okay? So it all has to be physical. All of these things in your beats, ideally, they need to be sequential. Your beats, I'm talking about these, your beat objectives and obstacles have to be sequential. So if they all work out, you'll get that. I want her to shake my hand. The first thing I have to do is get her to uncross her arms. Second thing I have to do is get her to set this down. Third thing I have to get her to do is take 2 steps toward me. The third thing I have to do is have her to take a big breath in and look at the floor. The next thing I have her do is make eye contact with me. The last thing I have to have her do is extend her hand to me, and then we can shake hands. But that all builds sequentially in order to get my unit objective, which gets me my super objective. Okay? It is possible to win every single beat objective and lose your unit. Totally possible. It is also possible to lose every single beat objective, and then in the last minute they come up to you and they shake your hand and you win your unit. Okay? Cool. Now how do I do always recommend not doing scoring sitting down. Because if you sit down and do it, it's all left brain, and then when you stand up, the right half of your brain and your body tell you different things. Okay? So I do think it is an active part of the rehearsal process. Okay? Objectives, obstacles, wins and losses. At this point, we've pretty much covered everything that's on this side of the paper. And I'm going to move to the second, and we've covered a lot of that. Analysis structure needs to be one color, okay? And so I've made a little mistake. It's the first time I've taught this in a year, so give me a break. Instead of super objective up here, it's not that. It needs to be analysis structure, okay? Analysis structure. And that's everything that takes place above the unit. Frankly, I didn't give myself enough room up here, but I will show you an example of what a really strong one looks like. So what is an analysis structure? Your stasis or your moment before, okay? So you would write stasis. Now again, right now these two colors are the same, but they're not. It's only because I'm limited in color. This, let's say it's green. Imagine this being green, but this being black. Stasis. You will write down a very brief description of what the stasis is. Okay? And a few brief sentences describe what just happened. Think of it as the moment before. You will also need to write the inciting action, the inciting incident, IA. Again, this is black, this is green. So the moment before, and then what happened right before you started talking. What's the thing that made you have to talk? Return to stasis, color words, operative word, underline. Okay. Let's see here, color words, operative line. Maybe we'll have some of that. Okay. Excellent. This is something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of go over all of this again a little bit. All right. I'm going to jump around a little bit. Please forgive me. But as you can see, these dotted lines denote the beats. It is possible that a dotted line, it's not always straight, okay? Let's say that you put your beat, let's say you put your beat, let's say you have a really short beat. Let's say you put a beat after Oh Mama. Can you do that? Sure, it's a really tiny beat, but I wouldn't. For our purposes right now, just to show you, it's possible to do a dot, 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 up, and across. And to cut in the middle of something. If you have a long piece of text, you can have beat units come in and cut it off in the middle. For your first section, you have to have your unit objective, but your units for the whole unit, the beats just for this section right here. Okay? It's just for that section. And so I would have another beat objective and another beat obstacle right here. And then let's say I have one right here. So in the Emily monologue, you're probably going to have 10, maybe? Something like that, maybe 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, yeah, between 5 and 10, maybe more, maybe a few less beats, okay? Emily monologue, you're probably only going to have one unit, all right? Now, at the end of the whole thing, you're going to have another unit line, and at the end of that, we're going to have to know whether you win or you lose. Okay, so again, you got to write a win or a loss right there. Cool. Yeah, win or your loss right there. Shake my hand. Yeah. Gosh, did I cover everything? Of course not. Your tactic colors alternate. There's something under analysis structure listed as complications. Lori uses that. I do not, because I comprehend it, but I never use it in instruction. I just never end up using it. So it's something that you need to be aware of, and it's something that as you move forward, if you have a class with Lori and she wants you to do scoring, that she may very well ask you to do complications, at which point that question needs to be asked. A complication is something that complicates an obstacle. I need to get out of this room, but the door is in the way, and the complication is that the doorknob is hot, if that makes sense. It's a complication of the obstacle to continue to layer it, but I don't end up using it. But it's something that you need to keep in your brain. Also, if you're taking with Elisa or with Kevin, they may have their own individual little twists on scoring, okay? And that's totally fine. But you score according to the instructor you're working with. And it's totally apt to ask, okay? Or to bring up a template and be like, I think this is what it is. I want to clarify with you that that's what it is. Return to stasis and climax. That's what I want to talk about as well. Again, all of this falls under analysis structures. That all needs to be in one color. In the text, you will mark where the climax is for you. Type of mark, as long as I know where it is and it clearly says climax on it. But while we're here, you can also see the great deal of clarity with which this individual wrote everything. Okay? There is the beat objective and the beat obstacle. I want him to embrace me and start to walk me back to my grave. Me, I think that's a little long-winded, but you can still see how clear and clean it is. It's also in this blue color. Right underneath that is his beat obstacles. Okay? Here, he has the beat and unit syncing up into one, showing a win. Okay? And then the denouement is marked at the end. The denouement meaning return to stasis, returning to some point of equilibrium. Please note also that, see, to squeeze, and flips it again to, I'm going to say that's bedazzle, and then to squish. And so these are all the tactics this individual is working on to get it. Also, please notice that all of his operative words are underlined. And that is something else that you need to do. What is an operative word? It's a word that you want to color. It's a word of great importance. It's a word that you need to gently highlight in the text. Okay? Cool. And that's something that needs to be highlighted as well. Cool. And now I'm pulling, while I'm here, this is Jacob Livingston's. Okay? Please notice, here's the key. Here is all the analytical data, the stasis, inciting action, the climax, the return to stasis, his super objective. He's marking his units in red with one strong line. His units are in blue with nice dotted lines. All of his tactics are marked as he moves through this thing. His wins and losses are all marked. Loss, 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 loss. He's losing a lot. And then a win. He gets a win out of somewhere there. Cool. He has one unit in here. Doesn't mean that you have to have one unit. Okay? But he loses the unit previously. That's why it's marked as a loss. Cool. Excellent. That, at very least, should give you a tentative understanding of what scoring is and what scoring looks like. Okay? What we will attempt to do is to provide an example. I will email you this verb scoring sheet. Okay? I will also attempt to email you a PDF of the scoring I just showed you, so you can see what it looks like. And as it says on the syllabus, neat scorings count. Okay? If you're someone whose handwriting is garbage, then I would highly recommend finding a way to type it all out and then do the color changes with the color change on the Word document. Okay? You're not going to write one, you're going to write several, and you're going to make adjustments to these. So if you do it handwritten, you're going to have to re-handwrite it over and over and over again. And if you're cool with that, cool. But I think it's easier if it's online. It makes it nice, neat, clean, repeatable, savable, all of those good things. Cool. The verb always needs to be written above the line that you're playing, that tactic, in the same color, and I can't think of any other questions that you may have right now. Cool. I think that's all I have to say today. If you are overwhelmed, since you're overwhelmed, please take time to look at the sheet, please take time to look at the example, and then take a shot, and then have questions. Okay? We will take some time to speak briefly about this in class, but I need you to have specific questions. Also, the CAs will set up workshops outside of class. I'm not requiring you to go to those workshops, but I'm also not requiring you to drink water this week. You don't have to, but yeah. Okay? Those who go to the workshops tend to get things like A's and B's. Those who don't tend to get things like academic alerts and D's and stuff like that. So, cool. That's it, everybody. Thank you, Rachel, for recording this today, and I will see you in class.